you sent out some tweets about it as well. What is your thinking behind this proposal?
So this goes back to my experience at the White House and the Congressional Budget Office after the terrorist attacks of 2001. In the aftermath of those attacks, we got disappointing economic performance. And even though Congress passed stimulus, traditional stimulus in 2002, 2003, 2005, and ultimately 2008, they sent out checks. And in retrospect, it seemed to me that one of the things that happened was every business in America was trying to make themselves safe against the threat of terrorism. And indeed the country as a whole was. We set up the TSA to make sure people got screened before they got on planes. We set up procedures to inspect every cargo container coming into the U.S., which was very expensive and not previously had ever been done. We put bollards around every building. Like now you can't go around buildings without seeing bollards and a whole variety of other things. And so we spent an enormous amount of money on the safety mission. It was expensive for businesses. That expense came instead of hiring and instead of investing in faster growth through more productive investments. Seems to me we could run into the same thing again now. We have a threat, and the threat makes workplaces unsafe, and you have to find a way to make your workplace safe, or you can't get the workers to come back, and that will be an expensive proposition. So if you think, a bodega in Brooklyn, which is everyone's favorite example, it's unlikely that they are going to be able to completely revamp their store. So they're going to have to come up with a bunch of PPE to protect their workers and sterilize all the time. And that'll be an expense for them, not something they wouldn't normally do. Or airflow will be a big deal. So got to buy big fans or change your HVAC, whatever it may be. Bigger companies are going to spend money on the physical workplaces, like spreading out desks, moving production lines, running more shifts with half the people. All these things are expensive. And if you do nothing, you raise the cost of doing business. That's typically bad for the pace of growth. It's going to inhibit their capacity to hire people back and or add new people. And so my idea is, to the extent possible, can you offset legitimate reconfiguration expenses and protection expenses through some sort of, in this case, a tax credit that you use against your payroll taxes. So instead of sending some money into the Treasury for payroll tax, you use that to cover these costs. That lowers the cost of adjusting to this way of doing business and makes it more likely we can get people back quicker. That's the idea.